All right, now, let's talk about the latest polling that says that Trump's apparently up on Biden by the best part of 10 points. Now, it is considered to be the outlier. If it is the case, well, we'll all wait and see. Do you believe that the margin is actually that big? Because if it is, then Biden won't be able to leave the White House, let alone go near a convention and get renominated.
Well, the truth is, because of the way the vote breaks down, it doesn't need to be 10%. 2 or 3% ahead is enough to get an electoral college vote of 310, 320, which would be more than enough. Which is why, Paul, I said on your programme last week, and I was the first person to say this, Biden will not be the candidate. And since I said that on your show, you've now got a host of voices all over the state saying, we've got to replace this guy. And it looks like the favourite is Gavin Newsom, the man that's been running California into the ground with education failing, crime rising, an epidemic of homelessness. It looks like he's the best, probably, the Dems have got.
Well, and I tell you what, again, this bloke's got a set of stones on him because he, of course, who's not running for the presidency, is going to have a debate with Ron DeSantis, red state versus blue state. It'll be on Hannity's show on Fox in a couple of weeks' time. That's a bloke who wants to reach out beyond his own bubble. That's a guy who is screaming, I'm ready to fight, and I'm ready to fight the Republican, and here's the one that I'm going into the training ring with. That is the guy screaming to say, I'm ready and I'm match fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And he knows that within the party, they're beginning to say, we call it here the men in grey suits, the sort of senior figures within the political movement know they are doomed with Biden. His deterioration now is rapid. I mean, look at his extraordinary performance in the Pacific in the last 48 hours. The whole thing is a disaster. His approval rating is now down to 37%. That is almost an all-time low for any American president. They are going to ditch him. And because Kamala Harris, well, she's even more unpopular than Joe Biden. So, yeah, I think, you know what? I think we've read the tea leaves pretty well on this one.
Okay, so give us the insight into Trump and where he is right now. He's doing a few really interesting things where he's going and meeting a bunch of striking auto workers. Now, again, the unions aren't going to back in Trump, but it's interesting to watch people play in so-called enemy territory, hence why Newsom going on Fox, really interesting. Trump going into not just the Rust Belt, but the front line of a Labor dispute. That's a sign of confidence because, you know that whoever's already with you is already with you, but you know you need to grow from where you were. What does that tell us about Trump's strategic thinking versus, say, media opportunism?
Tells me two things. Number one, despite everything that's been thrown at him, he's actually in remarkably ebullient mood. I mean, he really is an extraordinary bloke. And number two, what it says to me is he knows he has to win the Midwest. He's got to win Wisconsin, preferably winning Michigan as well. And that is your classic trade union, blue-collar working area of America. And you know what? Even though the union bosses may not back Trump, an awful lot of trade union members working in those factories worried about the extent to which American jobs have been outsourced to China, Mexico, and elsewhere. A lot of them will. So I think Trump is playing it absolutely right. One of the criticisms over the years is that perhaps he spent too much time speaking to his own faithful. He's now showing he's going out to reach out. And of course, as ever, it's that extra 3 or 4% beyond the Trump base. That's all he needs to win a majority.
Yeah, bloody oath again. That's just interesting. This is the guy who calls the play, can see it from a decade out. You're seeing what's happening here. Good to see.